Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and also the Substack publication Wisdom for Those Who Are Awakening. Today my video is going to be covering the period basically around May on through July. And I haven't come up with a title for it exactly yet. But I will say this is going to be one of the most critical periods that we will face in regards to Trump and MAGA. It's obviously been very distressing up until now, and it seems to be increasing in the area of disruptions, violence, unnecessary deaths in some situation. So this is not in any way a pleasant video that I'm doing here. It's a very complex video that I'm doing here because I have to take into consideration astrologically what could occur, what the variables are in regards to what we can expect, and the impact that this is going to have on all of us, and most importantly, how we are dealing with it. Okay? One of the things that I've mentioned here off and on over the last probably couple of months because of the changes that I'm feeling is that we are moving into a period where just doing videos like this that give information, some of the information can be relatively disturbing because we really don't know exactly how these situations are going to manifest. We have a pretty good feel for it, but right now, and considering who we're talking about here, anything is possible. Okay, and I want to start off by cautioning everybody who's watching my video today. What I'm going to share with you is what I feel could occur, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly the way it's going to occur. Okay? It is so difficult to try to squeeze more hope into these videos when I know consciously that we're moving deeper through these experiences into really the fear that is out there. Okay? And unfortunately, probably more people are embracing that fear than they are aware of the fact that they are actually embracing their imagination. Okay? And this is something that I discuss when I do the live streams, the Wisdom for Those Awakening live streams. And I interject them from time to time in these videos because there really is no quick fix remedy here. Okay? We are in a situation that the universe is allowing because it wants to make massive changes in consciousness. in our personal lives, in the country, and in the world. And because of the way things have developed through the centuries, okay, on many different levels, um, to use a term, we've kind of dug ourselves into a hole. And therefore, what we see happening now is the universe kind of upping the game in regards to what needs to be done to bring to light what it is that is wrong and why it is that we have to endure so much of what we're enduring. So I'm going to be taking you through several charts here. There's about 6 of them. I'm going to start off with Donald Trump's natal chart, which you've seen many times. And then I'm going to get into transits in May, transits throughout the summer, and then also I'm going to bring in the chart of the United States of America. And I'm going to show you how these timelines overlap. So what is happening with Trump obviously is going to affect us, and it'll be revealed in that chart of the United States of America and the transits that are going on. Okay? And again, I almost hate to beat this into my subscribers, the importance and the significance of what you are doing as you see this thing increasing. Okay, I hope that you take what I'm saying seriously, but that you're doing something for yourself, not to be overwhelmed by the implications of what it is that could occur here. All right, and there's really no way to sugarcoat this situation. Okay, there's just no way. All right. Okay, looking here at the chart of Donald Trump. Uranus trining Jupiter here, very close, within 20 minutes of being exact. And of course, it's the second house. Okay, second house of the chart, his chart. All right, and the 10th house. Okay, his goals, his aspirations, his purpose. All right, second house having to deal with money, wealth. We know that Donald Trump is unbelievably able to draw like a magnet wealth to himself, even if it's not something that we feel that's deserved. Okay? You have to understand something about this. The way you feel about Donald Trump, if you look at it emotionally, you're going to be very agitated, very upset, very painfully upset. If you by chance are able to look at it karmically, then you understand that Donald Trump is a tool of the universe that was born for the purpose that you see unfolding. Okay? And that the true purpose of all the things that you see going on here are for your own conscious and spiritual evolution. And the question is, are you seriously taking that into consideration? Are you doing something about that? Or are you hoping that magically somehow, someday, everything's going to return back to the way things were? Okay? It is highly unlikely that's ever going to happen. It is highly unlikely that the Democratic Party is going to be able to do anything against what we see going on. All right? That old game of the two parties, okay, probably is done. And that we're going to have to find within ourselves the strength and the consciousness to be able to understand what it is that we're going through and how do we deal with this. Okay? Very important. Okay? All right. We know that Donald Trump lies. Neptune squaring Mercury here. That he has a strange view of reality. But to him, okay, he sees that as the truth. Okay? Oddly enough, Jupiter trining his sun, Jupiter sextiling his moon. Whenever you see something like that in somebody's horoscope, generally they're very successful in whatever field that they're in, whatever their goal is in particular. But the big thing here is this trine between Jupiter and Uranus, which we'll get into here because everything begins in your natal chart. Okay, you'll hear people talk about this, that the natal horoscope is the foundation upon which you can expect transits and progressions to manifest. What is going to happen? If you have transits that are very positive, trines, sextiles, conjunctions, but the planets involved are very badly aspected in your natal chart, you're not going to receive the glowing review that you'll find in a lot of the astrological cookbooks about that particular period. On top of that, you may never see anything of an effect if Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are in your horoscope, because those aspects, the hard aspects, will bring results. The positive aspects generally maybe, maybe not. It's depending upon your own evolutionary timeline and whether or not it's time for you to manifest in your horoscope what those particular planets represent. Okay? Took a long time to come to that realization, of going through Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune and not seeing anything happen when you had trines and sextiles. All right? But it's the way that the universe shows that they're in control. All right? We're not in control in those situations. Okay, so what is going on as we move towards May? Okay? This is the chart for May the 3rd, 2025. This is Donald Trump's natal chart here on the inside. The last pass of Uranus squaring his Mars. Here's Uranus, 26 degrees Taurus. Okay? Here's Mars. All right, this is the last pass, the last square. The first time that this happened, okay, Donald Trump had an assassination attempt. Okay? Now, whether or not we will see something of that nature on May the 3rd or around about that time is debatable. But it is an aspect that generally indicates impulsive actions that are regrettable. Okay? That could have repercussions for him, or certainly it could have repercussions for everybody else because of the circumstances that we're in. So, that is a critical point, okay? The other thing to keep in mind here is that transiting Mars is moving towards opposition to his natal Pluto, which is an aspect oftentimes of violence, okay? Again, Mars rules the head, okay? So you can make of that whatever it is that you want, okay? But these are the indicators here. And again, as I've said many, many, many times, I don't really make predictions. I make an assessment based upon all the factors here, and then I put that out there with the caution, all right, that you don't want to totally rely upon me or any psychic, any astrologer, any tarot reader, okay, for what is going to happen, because we can be wrong, and we often are wrong. We're often very close, but we're often also very wrong. So be conscious of that. The other thing you have to take into consideration here that's going on in this chart, Pluto has gone into the house of his health at this time. Neptune is already into that house as well, and Saturn is getting ready to go into that house. Of course, this is the house of other people's money, okay? And this, of course, is the house of health. So, and there's something else here I'll get to in a little bit in the progress chart that also kind of emphasizes a focus of energy of something pretty big going on, okay? So, again, going back to what I said about his natal chart, his Jupiter trining his Uranus is a favorable aspect. It in many ways tells us why it is that he's able to slide through things with a minimum amount of damage. Okay? And again, that is a karmic factor in this person's life. All right? And the true test of everything that's going on here has to do with how you feel about Donald Trump. Whether or not you are listening to your fears that he is selling, or whether or not you are willing to surrender those fears, go within, and to reclaim your relationship with your higher self and your guidance. That is the true test. That is the creme de la creme, so to speak, of all the things that are going on now and all the things that will continue to evolve. Okay, depending upon how things turn out with Donald Trump. Okay, so again, we got something going on here in these transits. Okay, health issues. This is a house, of course, the 8th house is a house of death and transformation too. Pluto rules it in the negative or in the natal chart. Okay. So it could be a very serious event. All right, now go forward here a little bit. This is the secondary progress chart and the aspects here. And the thing here that is significant has to do with his progressed midheaven conjuncting or going into a 1-degree conjunction with his natal Pluto. Midheaven. Aspirations, goals, life purpose, okay, career, things of that nature. Something significant is going to occur that's going to have an impact upon that. Okay? Of course, the midheaven is in Taurus, money, wealth. Okay? 12th house, something unforeseen. Okay? Could it be a situation medically where something happens to him and he's hospitalized? It's possible. Could it be an indication that something happens to him and he is removed from the picture? Maybe, possible. Okay? But you have to keep in mind and go back to that natal chart. This man is here for a, quote, divine purpose. And we have not reached the depths yet of the, unfortunately, the word pain and suffering that we are going to have to endure. Okay? For the realization to surface to people that we can no longer hold on to the past. We have to move forward, and we have to move within consciously. And this is precisely why this change for me has happened, where I spent almost 6 to 7 years doing weekly videos about Donald Trump, political situations, his impact on other people and stuff. It was really to make people aware of the seriousness of this individual in terms of what he is, what he's doing, what he will do. Okay, and now for me, it's a matter of transitioning from the mental part, all right, of sharing with my subscribers and my members the astrology of what is happening into the conscious spiritual process that is needed to go through to take you to another level. All right, if you're aware on any level and you're watching this video and you're not focused within, deeply within, and committed to your relationship with your higher self, you stand a good chance of being caught up in the drama that has yet to unfold. Okay? Because you haven't separated your mental and emotional bodies from your, the drama going on. You need to get into your higher conscious state, into the astral, okay, where you can escape the pain, really, of the negativity going on here. Okay, so, progress midheaven, okay, is conjuncting, okay, the planet Pluto in the 12th house, house of isolation, house of, prison, hospitalization, things of that nature. All right, now let's go forward here. All right, this kind of gives you an idea of how this is going to unfold. This is Donald Trump's graphic ephemeris, January the 1st, 2025, for about 2 years. Focus here with me on Uranus, transiting Uranus. This is the natal chart over here. All right, you can see here that Uranus conjunct the midheaven already has actually, okay, in March. And again, this is all this disruption, all this chaos that's going on, all this situation where he's having people in mass fired from all different agencies, cutting back and stuff. All of this is this Uranus, okay, on the midheaven, having to do with money in Taurus, okay? But when we get, okay, here's Uranus squaring Mars in the early part of May, May the 3rd. But then it begins to square his ascendant, and it does it in July of 2000, okay, and 25, in November of 2025, and then lastly it does it in March, April of 2026. This Uranus squaring the ascendant is not a favorable aspect. It is probably a heightened indication of a heightened ability to disrupt, okay? It may show further medical, psychological issues with him, but because it squares the descendant, it also is going to indicate tremendous anxiety and stress upon others, okay? You know, people have already said this about there's a madman in the White House and stuff. If you think he's been crazy up to this point, wait until Uranus here squares. Okay, now it's possible that what's happening here is a result of what happens here when Uranus squares his Mars. Okay, it's a very dicey, tricky situation. Okay, and like all situations where you are angry, and listen to what I'm saying here, if you're angry, it's because you're afraid. Okay? And the only way to conquer the fear of being afraid is to learn to accept and to forgive. Emotionally, you probably won't like it in the beginning. Mentally, you may think, I've lost my mind. But I know from experience, personal inner healing experience, that there are situations that happen in life that are ordained for a particular purpose, for you to learn something and for you to make some changes. Okay? And this is primarily what Donald Trump's life is all about. Causing other people to look deeply inside of themselves and to ask themselves, why am I so angry? What am I afraid of? Why do I feel like I have no power, like I'm a victim, why I'm helpless? All those are valid questions. Why are you so helpless? Why is it? Have you ever asked yourself that question, why you're so overwhelmed with fear about what you see happening? Trying to compare Trump with Mao Zedong and Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, okay? He certainly does fit that mold, but he hasn't gotten to their level yet. Could he get there? Maybe, but we don't know. Okay? And what's happened is that a lot of this fear is just compounded imagination running wild. And it's very damaging to you, And again, this is why I don't watch network news anymore. I have to see things in charts, and I have to look at certain things to be able to do these charts and stuff. But I stay away from the Trump bashing because he is a tool of the universe. Okay? He is fulfilling a part that is necessary, even though emotionally we have a difficult time accepting that. Okay? And again, keep in mind, July 2025, November 2025, 2026, last part of April. All right? It's going to square his ascendant. It's in his 10th house. the way he wants to do things, his vision for himself, okay, squaring the ascendant, okay, can indicate very bizarre, unusual behavior, more so than what you're seeing now. Squaring the descendant, okay, creating tremendous anxiety in other people because of that, okay? And again, these are the things that are necessary so that humanity can come to grips with this fear, all right? Which has essentially made us kind of a combination of slaves and sheep, and we feel powerless, you know? We have these anxieties and fears because we don't trust. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust life. We don't know ourselves. We don't know what life's all about. We think that a madman's running the show. We've kind of, in a way, made him God. All right? And him and Elon Musk are not God. They are not in control of this entire situation. Okay? So, keep that in mind. And there are some stress points here with Uranus, his natal Uranus. Stress points from, okay, Pluto. This is a sesquiquadrate. This is a stressful aspect. Revolution. Okay? Almost paralleling what's going on here. Revolutionary change. Okay? All right. Now, all right, this is, again, July. Right in the middle of what I just showed you with the transits. His progressed midheaven is going to conjunct that natal Pluto. Natal Pluto is right here. Okay? Now, with Trump, again, this could indicate very dire, difficult, personally dangerous circumstances surrounding him, or it could be that he ups the ante on this bizarre, crazy behavior and goes forward and just kind of runs through everything with no regard whatsoever to the law, to the Constitution, or whatever. That's where he would like to go. That's where a part of him would like to go, to be king. And he's admitted that. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking at here. And then I think there's one final. All right, this is the graphical ephemeris for the United States of America. Okay, USA chart, planetary placements over here, transits right here. Okay, now, again, when I look at charts, when I make a determination on what I feel could occur, I look at the charts, I look at the transits, the progressions, I might even look at ingresses or returns and things like that. But I also trust my gut. Okay, and I compare things. Like I'm comparing here in Trump's chart, his transits, his progressions, his natal chart, and also the chart of the USA, because whatever happens to him is going to impact the USA, which would impact you and me. Now, same period of time, July, okay, latter part, June, July, going way into September and October, okay, then it comes back again in February and March. You have Neptune and Saturn both going into the fourth house of the United States of America's chart. Now, you got to keep in mind again that we don't know the exact time the Declaration of Independence was signed. Most people believe it was around 5:10 p.m. on July the 4th, 1776, but it's not set in gold. However, if it is relatively close, you have Neptune and you have Saturn going into the fourth house of the chart of America. That is the house that represents the home life of Americans. The 10th house would be, those institutions that control and run the government, institutions, and things like that. But the fourth house is going to have to do with how it affects you and me. Neptune and Saturn. Saturn, Neptune, very challenging combination of planetary energies, because you have one that is dissolving what we previously had believed to be true. And then we have the other one, all right, that is trying to, in some cases, tear down the old structures, dissolve the old structures, and then also to attempt to hold on to some kind of structure, some kind of form. So this passage of Neptune and Saturn into the fourth house of the USA chart is high anxiety. Okay, if you think things right now are stressful, okay, difficult, challenging, if you think that there won't be things that'll come out in terms of Trump's behavior that don't shock you more, well, this particular period right here may be, you know, the most difficult time ever that we've come to deal with in regards to this. And by that time, you as an individual, you as an awakened, aware individual, you need to be strongly embedded consciously within. You need to have discovered your inner teacher. You need to have discovered, all right, a relationship with your higher self. You need to be able to divorce yourself emotionally from the impact of the things that are going on that are triggering your fear, whether they happen or not. It doesn't matter whether or what he says actually happens. It's the fact that he says it, and it's the opinion that we have of him. Okay? That does enough damage. That does almost as much damage as actually him doing something like telling him to bomb Russia. Okay? It's your imagination. And I'm going to refer to this again. It's why I do the live streams, Wisdom for Those Awakening, because I want to help to show you what is happening to you, what you're doing to yourself, and how you can find a way to overcome being caught in the anxiety and the fears, okay, that are going on. Because in all likelihood, at some point, it's going to get worse than what it is right now. Whether it will reach the point that it did in Germany or Russia or China during the reign of their oligarchs is hard to say. But my instincts tell me that it has to reach a critical point. There has to be a critical situation, okay, to where whatever excuses that we might have for hoping, false hope really, to go back before this all started is kind of flushed down the commode. And we have that naked feeling of being isolated and alone with having to deal with ourselves. Okay, which is really what this is all about. You cannot reclaim your own personal power unless you're willing to deal with yourself as you are. Okay, if you will not face yourself that way, then in all likelihood you're going to be caught up in the drama. Okay, and the unfortunateness of being caught up in the fear and the consequences of what will happen, what people will be pushed to, okay, at that particular point in time. Okay, all right, now I'm back here at the natal chart. And I know it's probably, unfortunately, distressing for a lot of you who are my subscribers and my members of the channel. You probably would like to see more things done, but as I mentioned a couple of times, I'm being forced to go into the realm of trying to help you to consciously understand what is going on, to teach you, okay, to give you insight into understanding what it is that you're feeling and why you're feeling it, what the charts are showing, but what you need to do about that. So the desire to do a video every other day is not there. I will definitely do them occasionally because that's a part of who I am. Okay? But my hope is that for those of you that have been watching my videos here lately, is that you'll very seriously consider coming over to the live streams every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 on YouTube and on either LinkedIn or Facebook, where we'll be talking about the process of a deeper conscious awakening that's going on to help you to understand what it is that you're dealing with, okay? To help you to understand that it's okay, if you reach a particular point to where you feel like you've been abandoned by your guidance or your higher self, or you're feeling vulnerable, okay, and you can't find peace, okay. There are ways to do this. There are ways to experience this. But sometimes you have to get out of being too strong and let others help you as well. And that's what we're going to try to do. That's what's the work that CJ and I have to do. CJ will be working with me from now on in the broadcasts, and I'm really glad that that's happening so that we can work together online. We do that pretty much daily by ourselves, but she has a tremendous insight and awareness of her own. She has brilliant conscious guidance, and we're hoping together to share more insight into the live stream to help those of you that will join us to be able to see what's going on and how you can help yourself. Okay, again, keep in mind that both CJ and I have publications on Substack, the online server for those who write about various things, one of them being spiritual awakening. And we look forward to seeing some of you over there, because a lot of our guided material, is put on there daily, and you'll find that it's extremely helpful and insightful. Okay? All right. From the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, we thank you again for your enduring these changes, for staying with us, and we hope that what we're doing is benefiting you through these very difficult times that we're all facing and that we will face. So again, one other thing too, tomorrow, because of car issues, because of an appointment with a dealership, I'm going to have to skip over tomorrow's live stream. Next Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. we'll be on live to do the live stream, Whispers or Wisdom for Those Awakening. Okay, thank you again, and I hope to hear from you in the comments section of the community.